Part 30 of ranking and reviewing every Academy Award for Best Picture. This is 1981's Chariots of Fire from director Hugh Hudson. This was a first-time watch for me. The reason it's a first-time watch for me is just this isn't a very popular movie nowadays. People know the running on the beach scene, which, yes, is the opening scene. People know the theme song by Vangelis, and that's about all that they know. I vaguely knew this was about running. I knew it was British. I knew Ian Holm was in it. That was kind of all that I knew. As an Oxonian myself, I kind of hate how much Cambridge is in this movie, but, we'll set that aside for now. The movie follows two main characters who each run for their own particular reasons and each encounter very unique problems to themselves. We have Harold Abrahams, played by Ben Cross, who is a Jewish student at Cambridge, and we have Eric Liddell, played by Ian Charleson, who is a very religious man from Scotland who basically runs because he thinks it's how he gets closer to God. Liddell is actually a really interesting person historically, and the film doesn't really get into this because it all takes place before this, but he was actually a missionary over in China when World War II broke out, and he died in an internment camp. The movie really devotes equal time to these two characters, and I have to admit, Liddell's story isn't that interesting in this movie. The more interesting one is Abraham's, because he encounters prejudices and all of this stuff, and that's kind of interesting, but it's definitely not as good as it could have been. And I do think by the film focusing on the two different characters, each person's story is kind of lessened in importance and in potential power. I'm also going to complain about the most famous thing in this movie, the Vangelis score, because while it's good individually on its own, it really doesn't fit with the period timing because it's all synth. And this is, it takes place over the course of a number of years, but the bulk of it is leading up to the 1924 Paris Olympics, which is kind of neat because now we have the 2024 Paris Olympics to look forward to. But I would have liked more traditional instrumentation. The score is very 80s, and it just seems odd. Despite the problems, though, I did enjoy this movie. Any movie that shoots any scene in Scotland, well, yeah, we'll see where I end up ranking Braveheart. But I love Scotland. It's my favorite place I've ever been to. The movie looks gorgeous. It's a who's who of great British character actors in the supporting cast. The two leads are excellent. It's a well-acted movie. It's a well-made movie. It's just not necessarily the most entertaining. And because of all these reasons, this is going to be where I end up ranking it. Definitely not towards the bottom, as I might have thought, given how infrequently this movie's talked about, but definitely nothing pushing it into the upper echelon. Next time, I'm going to be covering another movie I had never seen before with a who's who cast of not really character actors in this case, but genuine movie stars. So it's going to be the most recent Best Picture winner, Oppenheimer. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, be sure to tune in next time.